Oh, how the mighty have fallen, yeah. Oh, well, once I realized that he was truly, like, apologetic. Like, once I realized that he was truly sorry. He was so sorry that I realized I could still work for this person. Guys, if I tell you at any point that I want to fuck a horse as a woman, never come back and watch me again. Never watch me again.
Easy lately, standing for what's right.
Man, it's good to be back, baby. There's been so much that has gone on since I've been gone. I feel like the whole entire commentary community is at war now. Everybody's talking about the same stuff right now. There's so much to talk about, guys. I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with it, but on X, there's all-out war has broken out over a video that we're going to watch today about Willie Mack show, who talked about, basically talking about like the Destiny thing. So Willie Mack show put out a video going over the Destiny stuff, and apparently a lot of people are up in arms about it. Now, I did watch this. I'm going to be honest, I watched this, but considering that everybody's all up in arms about this video, mainly Moreau has, but Himpleton's gotten himself back into the fray, so there's a lot going on here. I essentially wanted to go over a little bit about some of the drama that's going on regarding this stuff here. Himpleton put out a video about Moreau earlier because they've had a bit of a falling out. We're gonna react to it. I glazed through the Willie Mack thing. I wasn't really paying attention hardcore, so I'm gonna go back and rewatch it tonight with you guys, and we're gonna really focus on it. This is the video right here. I confronted Destiny on his crimes. The answers are disappointing. This is a story about victims, which I wouldn't disagree with. A lack of accountability and slandering of Pixie by people who frame themselves as heroes. I have a hard time not agreeing with him, but let's see what some of the responses are. Generally pretty good video, to be honest. Is there a reason you didn't particularly touch on Sherry's claims, by the way? Just curious. Willie says, I did touch on Cherry's claims. They're in the video. I reached out to Cherry for more information. She did not want to comment. Her tweets available did not provide any actual factual insight that I felt was necessary. So anyway, without further ado, let's jump into it. This is Willie Mack show, who's actually been in like a straight up war with the shitter community, which I would consider myself a part of. Let's hear from Willie Mack show. I confronted Destiny on his crime.
I want to preface this video by stating that I was the only one that reached out to everyone involved in this story, and that the victims weren't just used by Destiny, but by YouTubers trying to frame themselves as heroes. One of them is still lying about what he did. Now, I'm not gonna...
By the way, that was President Sunday, and can I just say, President Sunday's cartoon gives him too much credibility, because this makes a lot more sense now, looking at him as a YouTuber, okay? That's what I expected him to look like. But in his cartoon avatar that he uses to go over the Destiny stuff, he tries to make himself look like he's like this real dapper, well-dressed, debonair type individual. Now, this definitely checks out a lot better, in my opinion. Oh, this is definitely the President Sunday I expected to see.
Is still lying about what he did. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I personally care about the victims either. I don't know them. However, I do have the basic human decency to not try and sabotage them. I pride myself on doing a good job, and this video is finally up to those standards.
All right, now these are some bold claims. He's essentially saying that people are sabotaging victims of Destiny. That's a bold thing. From what I have understood of Willie Mack show, he tends to back up a lot of what he says. He's like me in that I tend to not go crazy with saying stuff unless I can feel like there's enough evidence to back up what I'm saying. I feel like he has that same type of vibe to him. Because Moreau, when he was doing his little tirade on X, I asked him, I was like, dude, I don't know. It didn't really seem like it was that bad of a video when I watched it earlier. But he swears that the research is bad in this video. But we're going to dive into all that after this is all done. So, but I just wanted to give that little take there.
So enjoy! Destiny is a political streamer that has framed himself as a moral authority. I've gone on his shows, cited his appearances often when covering the Red Pill. He's framed himself as someone who's fighting for respecting women.
I think there's an intention within DDG, from what I can tell, from what you say and what people say, to make women feel comfortable in this space. Is that correct?
There's an intention from me. There's probably an intention from part of my community.
He thinks teenagers should get dating advice. Well,
at least he was honest about that. I make zero effort to try to make women feel comfortable in my space because I'm usually trying to bang them. Not me, Destiny. I don't do that. I don't do that, but Destiny does. If you get comfortable with Destiny, chances are he's about to try to slip a finger in or something.
from him rather than their own stupid parents.
Person comes up to you and starts saying some weird stuff. You just sit there with this 13-year-old and then you start having conversations extended about them about dating.
Yeah, I have before. What do you mean? No, would I tell if a young person came up to me and they were asking me questions about some like boy problems or something? Yeah, I'd probably say, yeah, of course. What do you mean, a 35-year-old man? Of course, I'm gonna have better advice for them than some random high school person. Yeah, of course. If a 15-year-old girl came up to me and she's like, there's some weird thing going on with a boy in my high school, I'd say, oh no, don't talk to me, honey. Go ask another 15-year-old boy, or ask your retarded fucking mom and dad who are gonna tell you to never talk to any boys ever. No, what the? Why would I not talk to a person? Wait, what?
Yeah, Destiny has.
I can't argue with that point. Chances are, I'd like to think that most men are good. I tend to believe that the majority of men out there are decent human beings. Say my daughter was in high school and one of her friends was having boy trouble and felt like she could confide in me and ask me about a boy that's being overly aggressive. I can't disagree with what Destiny said there. I do think that obviously Destiny doesn't really have that great of a track record. He looks foolish saying this now, but anybody who's actually live the life that they preach, where they tend to practice what they preach and be a decent human being, I would agree with them. I would think that father type figures tend to have better advice for young women because guys can remember what they were like when they were younger, full of piss and vinegar. And chances are I would have more to offer somebody who's obviously not invested. Talking to another woman around my age about men would be a little harder, I think, than talking to a girl when I know that boys in high school tend to be a little more aggressive because they're going through puberty. And I know what guys want at that age, so you could tend to have a little more wisdom when it comes to that kind of shit. So I don't disagree with Destiny there, even though he's the last person who should be saying any of this now.
There's a longer list of women he's had sexual interactions with that now hate him than any of these guys. Almost all of which have been labeled as crazy, unhinged psychos, liars.
Yeah, like, I can be a pretty cold motherfucker. And yeah, me and Melina have problems, but I don't think I f***ed up at all of this. I'm not running around screen sharing people's nudes, calling people ugly.
Yeah. Well, boy, that didn't age well, did it? That did not age well. To be honest, I think it's weird to give sort of parental advice to children who aren't yours. Well, someone's got to give them advice, though. Okay, so I guess the real question you would have to ask, Fellaine, is do you think that the girl would be better off not getting advice at all? I agree with you in that a 15-year-old went to a grown man and asked about a boy thing. I think the first thing that the guy should do is go, do you have a father that you could talk to about this stuff first? And then if she says, no, I don't have any other men in my life to give me advice, then maybe I would not give unsolicited advice to other kids. But then again, I can remember growing up and there was a lot of cool dads that would give us great life advice about not getting screwed over on our taxes and stuff. And some of them were moms, some of them were dads. But I remember being 17, hanging out on New Year's Eve at my friend's house, and her dad just being like the absolute coolest guy ever. That's the only thing I can say. The best advice I ever got was from my best friend's dad. See, Daniel's crew, I guess it's a case-by-case basis. I do feel like we are so jaded as a society that most people don't want to feel comfortable doing that. It's just better left not getting involved at all. But at the same time, there are circumstances in which that might be necessary, and you might be the only person that person has to get advice from. So I guess it all matters. It's a matter of perspective.
Ugly behind their backs while telling them I want to them because they're like trying to go up on shows that I'm like a producer of.
But recent leaks showed Destiny sharing sex tapes of his past partners without their consent to a 19-year-old named Rose in an attempt to get laid. I can't help but wonder, was there any truth behind their stories?
Things that's been done to me without consent or anything. that has been my past 5 years.
Then there's the aspect.
Yeah. Melina's coming out of this looking great. Let's be honest, guys, she looked great well before this. But, I mean, can you look at that girl? She has gotten her vindication, I feel like. I do feel like she's gotten her vindication. I never got good advice from my parents. Yeah. Again, it's a case-by-case basis. I would say maybe good advice. It depends on what social advice from my parents, I don't ever really feel like I got anything that valuable from, but advice coming to, when it comes to taxes or when I'm supposed to change my oil in my car. Yeah, I could say that they came through with those. I was raised with a stranger danger mentality. Well, there you go. There you go. And again, it's like case by case basis.
Of how these stories broke, coming from two YouTubers, President Sunday and Beckett, who never reached out to the victim, were never given permission to share any of this. Yet they did it anyway, confirming it's her in the leaks to the general public, framing her as a suicide baiter for saying she'd kill herself if her parents found out.
Pixie did the worst thing that someone in her position could do. Rather than seek legal recourse or make a public statement denouncing the violation of her consent and dignity that these leaks represented,
She was literally doing both of those things.
she seemed
This is the only time I have issue here is I do agree that it was never President Sunday's. Also, here, you see my point? Look how much he tries to use his cartoon to make him look like he's some serious figure. But then you take a look at the real him and you're like, you don't look anything like that, bro. You don't look nothing like that. But I do agree. I didn't feel like they had a right to come forward with this stuff. I feel like Beckett, for the most part, tried to do it the best he could, but President Sunday was a loose cannon and got drug along for the ride with him.
seems to have ultimately chosen to try and profit from the situation by extorting Destiny.
This guy didn't even try to understand the full story before making a video victim shaming her. While her parents certainly know now thanks to Sunday's journalism, if she dies, she dies, a risk he's totally willing to take on behalf of making his YouTube video. After Pixie was forced to go public, she would have other women reach out saying they also had their nudes shared without their consent. One girl even claimed she filed a police report on Destiny for secretly recording them having sex, which if true is such a violation.
Okay, so there's actually the part where Sherry was involved. He didn't say her name though. He didn't say her name yet. So he did show Sherry. If Sherry's claims are true, that's the worst claim there is. It's bad that what's happened to everybody that's been a victim of his, but the Sherry one is by far, if that one's true, that's the worst by far. Illegally recording someone, yeah, not good.
Of another person's privacy, I genuinely hope he faces criminal consequences for it. This is not the first time this accusation has come up.
The way that Lauren keeps saying this is that is implying that I'm recording me people or recording me like sexual stuff or something like that. That's how she implies it. When Lauren says it over and over again, that's what she's referring to.
The response he gave on Reddit as well as in his stream come off as absurd, like he's the victim.
A lot of vulture culture streams tonight. A lot of clout hungry people that wanted to spend 12 hours reacting to this are going to be very disappointed, and I'm sure they'll have their own conspiratorial reasons for why I'm saying what I am saying.
His friends have all
Oh, fuck you, Destiny. Fuck you. You'd have had this elite vibe to you that's just like, ugh. It's like, ugh, bruh. It's just like, ugh. He's had this elite vibe to himself for so long. And now all of a sudden he wants to act like, oh, I'm very disappointed that so many of my friends turned their back on me. It has everything to do with Destiny feeling like he was invincible and that he could do no wrong. Everybody knows this. This is not shocking news to anybody.
About him. His podcast host says he told his wife to leave him.
I'll say this also. I think Steven was a really shitty husband to Melina. Okay? I'm coming out here saying it right now. I don't think Steve would deny it either. The way that he was. I talked with Melina a lot of times and she was crying and miserable and everything else. And Steve would say, what do you want me to say? I'm a selfish motherfucker. That's why I'm in the relationship that I'm in. He was like, what should I do? Should I leave? And I'll tell you this, I never was I was never no, you should stay and make things out. I told her multiple times, listen, if you feel like this is an abusive relationship, get the out of there immediately.
And right into my arms, baby. I don't know if Dan said that, but Dan has kind of lost his damn mind. Dan has lost his damn mind. I'll put it that way. Destiny, he's put people who he's close to in these terrible situations. It's I'm trying to think of somebody who, I can't really think of any content creator who I'm really, really close to. But it would be like having someone who I've defended in the past do something that completely just makes one of my videos look terrible. And then me having to be like, yeah, I got that one wrong. But I feel like I'm a pretty good judge of character. And I feel like that all the videos I've done defending specific creators, Nerd City, Pierogi, I feel like those guys are fine. I don't feel like I'm going to ever have to worry about them coming out with anything that would make me feel I need to be very careful what I say. I feel like those guys are good. They're good men. And I've had candid talks with both of them. I feel like they're both good guys. I don't feel like they're going to randomly come out of nowhere and do this, or do anything like this. But for people who are, he's pretty much threatened everybody's career. Anybody who's ever been associated with Destiny in any way whatsoever, those people's careers are now in jeopardy because their credibility just from being associated with this guy is shot to hell. Even Turkey Tom, he's not free of this. So I do feel like Willie is in a weird spot too, and I think that a lot of people are upset that Willie didn't go harder on Destiny. But you got to remember too, he was his friend for this guy for a long time. So that doesn't make it okay, but you either come off looking like you ain't no loyal hoe or you come off like a backstabber. Either way, it's a lose-lose situation. Oh, yeah, it's funny. You were perfectly fine with Destiny before all this stuff came out. It's not clear-cut. It's not. All I'm saying is a little more nuance of a situation than I think a lot of people want to admit.
Acting like he's betrayed because nobody reached out to him.
I want to write up a list of all the people, actually, hold on. Because there were some people that messaged me to like figure out like what was actually going on before they kind of decided to do all this like crazy public stuff about it. I just want to read off a list of those people. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, and that's all of them.
He looks so heartbroken right there. He just looks like everybody who I've ever been friends with never liked me at all. Everybody who I've ever had any type of trust with, anybody I've ever said love you buddy to say goodbye to, not one of them ever gave a shit about me. But how do you defend this either? How do you defend this? This is indefensible. This is indefensible. And I probably would feel bad for Destiny if it wasn't for the fact that he wished Trump people got shot, if it wasn't for the fact that he felt like he was so incredibly better than everybody else. This is why I don't feel bad for him. Could the argument be made that he had bad judgment and he didn't do this insidiously? Yeah, maybe, but I don't know. Yeah, meow, Isha. To be honest, I don't care about his feelings. He didn't give a fuck about how those girls whose pics he leaked felt. Yes, I agree. And that's my whole thing too, is like, I don't give a shit about him because he did this himself. He did this to himself. And I was simply just saying I would only feel a little bad for him because the guy's had everybody who's ever been his friend basically disown him. Rightfully so, because he's done some pretty terrible shit. But I just think he just never thought I think he was just incredibly careless and felt like he was manipulative enough to not have anybody turn on him. Oh, how the mighty have fallen, yeah. He has no friends for a good reason. Yes, that's true. And it's probably going to stay that way forever. Oh, my God. And that guy, Dan from Redact or whatever his website is, said, I don't want any of you people coming back in a couple months when all this blows over trying to be friends again. It's like, bro, I think you're good. I don't think anybody's in a rush to be friends with Destiny again.
That was a little bit shocking as well, but okay.
So I reached out confronting him, asking him pointed questions, and his answers were disappointing. So much so it made me wonder why he would want anyone to reach out at all.
If I tried reaching out to Destiny, do you really think he would answer me? He'd be like, who the fuck are you? Why would I say anything to you? So even if people did reach out, he basically meant like his friends. Here's the list of my friends who I thought would reach out. But I'm guaranteeing people did actually reach out.
His enemies would use all of this to take victory laps on
little theater kid stuff.
Destiny.
First of all, okay, I would say that I'm pretty confident that everyone who was featured in these videos also sent videos of them and other people as well. But nobody talks about that.
Okay. Classic, I just made up a no you defense, but that's cool.
Hassan is getting a W over the guy who was trying to get him banned for the past 3 months. Painful. Destiny would throw away all of his credibility because he wanted to goon. This is the sort of video I finish and I just want to shake my head in disappointment.
I mean, that pretty much does sum it up pretty well. Destiny's destroyed his lifetime of work just because he wanted to goon. He should have listened to Turkey Tom. Stop gooning, guys. There's a time and a place for gooning. It is not during your live streams. When you think you're God, he will humble you and make you question your life choices. Amen to that one, Daniel's crew. You're so right. You're so right.
And I don't want to be presumptuous. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry if this upsets you because you're 19, or I'm sorry if this upsets you because you're 22 or something, right? Or if you're some legal guy or whatever, you know. When you're 19, you're a little kid, okay? Now, if you're 22, a 19-year-old's not a kid to you, okay? I'm 29. A 19-year-old might as well be a 15-year-old to me. It's all the fucking same, dude.
Well, now he's 36 and still talking to 19-year-olds. This Rose person would either get hacked or leak the videos herself. We still don't know for sure. And all of the...
Yeah, that's bad. See, I say it's hard for me to get on Willie Mack. I haven't seen that clip before. Now, granted, I haven't talked about this for the past 2 weeks because I've been sick. But, I mean, that's a good clip. That's a good clip. It shows the hypocrisy of Destiny. Like, where he'll say one thing and then his actions tell you that he believes it actually to be completely different.
These people's most embarrassing moments are now cemented online. Now, it's worth noting that Destiny didn't share these images because he wanted to embarrass anyone. He was trying to goon with Rose.
Just because of some legal age of consent, whatever bullshit, I have about as much in common with like an 18-year-old, 19-year-old freshman in school as I would a fucking sophomore in high school. Any type of inclination towards any of those people is really fucking weird.
I'm listening to clips of Destiny from last year defending himself from women saying that he's secretly recording them.
Lauren keeps like typing messages that make it sound like I'm secretly recording people having sex. That's what it sounds like.
And then, oh look, what am I seeing on Twitter? This girl named Sherry saying Destiny secretly recorded her and shared it with people. One of the leaked DMs is Destiny showing audio of a dude he hooked up with, saying this just ended with him finishing. Again, audio's scuffed because my phone was in my pocket. It was in your pocket? Was it there because he didn't know you were recording? This guy did an entire arc arguing with red pillars on boundaries with his wife and how you should treat women.
Okay, so we can confirm that he did talk about Sherry. So that one tweet that asked about that, we can put that to rest. He definitely talked about Sherry. So far, I'm not seeing anything too crazy. This is typical Willie Mack stuff right here. I feel like he's being kind of neutral. I don't know what the fuck Moreau's talking about.
Videos were not shared with consent. One of the victims was Pixie, who heavily trusted Destiny. She described herself as extremely sexually inexperienced and sheltered. I had multiple long conversations regarding consent and boundaries with Destiny.
Here's the alarming thing, okay? She was 19 when Destiny was messing around with her. Even though he already just said a couple times that he has nothing in common with 19, he seems to have a hard time not messing around with the youngin', which legally, I can't say shit about it. You could have a moral take on that. Personally, if they're over the age, the legal limit, they're considered legally an adult, and by law, they're allowed to do whatever they want. But I don't know. I can understand the moral quandary here that people have against older people messing around with younger people.
Has all of these conversations about consent and boundaries and then does this without consent. Amazing. The fact that Destiny didn't maliciously share these videos might matter legally. That will have to be determined, but it doesn't really matter for the victims, now does it? Their nudes are out there for their parents, employers, and friends to see.
Yeah, that's the biggest issue here, right? Pixie, no matter what, that video is never coming off the internet. They can spend forever trying to take it down on whatever site it shows up on, but someone's always going to have it on their phone and be able to re-upload it somewhere else, because that's where, I'm sure the minute it got leaked onto Kiwi forums, all the gooners downloaded it right away. And you can't literally subpoena everybody on Kiwi forums to see who has those videos. So unfortunately, this video is never going to disappear. It's going to be on the internet forever. And for someone who wanted to be like a lawyer and stuff, how are you ever going to be able to sit across from someone in a court case and not be like, oh, yeah, I remember I saw that video, you girl. You don't know how to suck D. You know what I mean? Like, and you're like, her reputation is ruined for someone who didn't elect to have their body be put out onto the internet that way. She's not an actress, right? She's not in a movie. It's not like Sydney Sweeney, who's been in nude scenes where you could just go watch season 1, episode 4 of Euphoria and see Sydney Sweeney nude. This is a woman who didn't elect to do all these things. And in a way, at 19, you still are stupid. Yes, that's true, Fabiola. I will agree. And that's why a lot of people feel like that, especially for someone like Destiny 2, who's got so much influence. It's like a fly to a buzz, one of them zap traps. You know, they see the light. It's like a lamb to the slaughter, you know? They never had a chance. Because they're looking at YouTubers are like the new rock stars, and they just look at them like groupies. I think that someone like Destiny, though, who talks about morality type things, needs to be held to a higher standard. I feel like no matter what age you are, having your nudes out there without permission can literally ruin your whole future. Yeah, Daniel's group, true. Especially because she wasn't a household name, but Destiny is. And by just being associated with Destiny, you are now famous because you were in one of his videos. How old is Destiny? He's still stupid. Yeah, he's like 34? 36 or something like that.
Leaks happened in November. By the end of December, Kiwi Farms, as well as many other creators, knew who the participants were. There were group chats talking about it. The most prominent victim in this story, Pixie, confronted Destiny about sharing her nudes without consent. I'm super sorry, there's literally zero excuses. In DMs, Aaron wrote to Destiny, you didn't leak it maliciously, you distributed it non-consensually. Yeah, I know, I have severely damaged her. Confirming yes, he did do this, making him come off like a complete fraud. He has hours of content telling people how to live their lives, that they have no moral standards. Meanwhile,
that's the biggest problem, right? Is that Destiny spends all his time telling people how they should live and what decisions they should make. And this guy can't even do the bare minimum.
He's going on trips to Israel with his friend Lonerbox while pocketing nudes of a girl he was having a thing with. There's a video of Pixie's dad thanking Destiny for being a good friend.
First of all, many thanks for being a friend to my daughter.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh yeah, he's been a good friend, Mr. Pixie's father. He's been a good friend to your daughter. Trust
She doesn't have any friends.
That's not true. You're
No,
so
she has a
mean.
shit ton of friends.
Okay.
But she appreciates your friendship.
Cool.
And I appreciate that. That you are.
Oh my God. How does Destiny sit here, have this conversation with this girl's dad, knowing full on well that you were messing around with his daughter? Oh, you're such a good friend. You've been a good friend to my daughter. Yeah, he's been a little too good of a friend to your daughter, sir. As a father, I would want to kick Destiny's ass for that.
Friends.
Thanks. Well, I try my best. I'm a friendly person.
Yeah, I agree.
Bro,
Daniel,
this is
it's very
painful
sad.
to watch. Pixie is here. They're friends, but Kyla is a conflict of interest. Her and her husband moved from Canada to work with Destiny. They uprooted their whole lives for this. Pixie emphasizes Steven has to face the consequences proportional to his actions. I want this to be the most expensive mistake of his life. I'm essentially asking him to punish himself in a way I don't think he will or agree with without the law getting involved. I don't have a dollar amount from the top of my head. It just has to be enough for the rest of his life. If he thinks of the word nude, he associates it with the amount of money he lost. $1 million is a price that gets thrown around in later DMs, and upon reading that, me and a lot of other people initially laughed, but then I thought about it. If somebody leaked my nudes, I would want their head.
Exactly. $1 million, in my opinion, is not enough. This woman is screwed for the rest of her life. She's never going to be able to outrun this. $1 million, that's the least this dude could fork out. Destiny could afford $1 million. The dude's probably worth a couple million, to be honest. Lord knows how. This is what drives me so nuts about online social media, is I watch an idiot like Destiny become a multimillionaire, spatting bullshit, popping Adderalls, and then I'm like, how am I not being it? How did I not figure this out yet? You know? It doesn't take a genius to get rich online. You either got to be so stupid that it works out for you, or so smart that, I don't know. I haven't really found a whole lot of smart ones, to be honest with you. It just seems like you just got to be stupid enough to make it work. How did he meet the young girl? Apparently, she started off as his assistant. Probably one of his orbiters who would hang around his community.
So $1 million from a millionaire sounds fair enough. Kyla then starts to look like she's protecting Destiny in these messages. It wasn't clear to me before that this is what you wanted specifically. My understanding is it was more of a sense of rehabilitation. Now, this was only one leak. You know how many times he's probably shared these nudes and not gotten caught?
Yep.
But Kyla's like, Pixie, you don't understand. He's super sorry. In an interview Kyla gave Tom, it comes off as her looking out for Destiny.
Just to me, recording somebody and then without their knowledge and leaking it is like a full-on, it's a pretty sexually invasive crime. Leaking somebody's nudes, I think, is also really bad. To be clear, I think it is really bad. But the issue is that I think it's fundamentally just a more common issue that people do. It's definitely, in my experience, not the first time that somebody has leaked nudes. I think it's not okay. When you hear about guys showing other guys tits that some girls shunt her, I think it's gross, and there's a reason I don't look at. I mean that's I agree, it's less severe, but this isn't a bunch of high schoolers, right? This is a 35-year-old guy who's doing this. Sure, but the law and morals are different, right?
Boys will be boys is a crazy statement coming from someone whose last video is about feminism.
It's so true, though. Boys will be boys. If it works out in my favor and keeps me getting paid, I uprooted my whole life to come work with this idiot. I'm not about to let him just walk himself right off the plank. Too late. He already did. He's gone. He's gone. I used to say, why do stupid people have money? Yes. Just look at the girl from Dr. Phil. Cash Me Outside girl. Girl's freaking I'll have more money than most of us will make in a lifetime. Why? Because she said, "Catch me outside." How about that? I don't want to hear that her rap career is great.
He's like, only if Destiny does the worst thing possible will it matter to me.
The way I'm getting painted here is really, really far from the truth, and I don't really know why.
You look like Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yeah, Ghislaine Maxwell.
Brutal. She says that Steven showed accountability and a step-by-step plan on how he was going to correct all of this.
Basically, the moment that I saw remorsefulness, accountability, and a step-by-step plan of how he was going to correct the issue, that's when I was like, okay, I can still work with this person, because it's the try and the accountability that matters to me.
Whoa.
No, it is not. Oh my God, she is coping so fucking hard, dude. She is coping so hard. Oh, well, once I realized that he was truly apologetic, once I realized that he was truly sorry, he was so sorry, that I realized I could still work with this person. He's only sorry he got caught. He didn't mean to get caught. And if he didn't get caught, he would have continued charading on as this feminist war champion of the women. Guys, I tell you this, people call me misogynistic all the time because I keep it real, right? If a guy pretends to be like the most female, empathetic guy that there is, he's trying to get in your pants. Yes, most men who have that old school chivalrous side to them where they still hold the door for you, or put a coat on you if you're cold, or offer your jacket to them, those are the guys who actually give a shit about women, not the guys who's like, oh, with female rights, baby. Those guys are full of shit. Fabulous says, damn, I'm smart and I'm broke. I need to be stupid to be rich. Is there a book to make me stupid, right? I think the thing is that smart people know that they want to keep their reputation and their respect, and people who aren't willing to jeopardize the respect or the reputation tend to not take big risks, get big rewards. You know what I mean? And people who are smart tend to not risk their reputations the way that some of these people online do.
Was his plan, because all I saw was Destiny blaming his actions on being off of Vyvanse. Apparently, if he's off of his meds, he doesn't have to respect people's privacy. Interesting symptoms. I want to point out that Pixie stands by that Kyla was being a good friend despite how she comes off. It's worth acknowledging that. When this story hit the wider public, Destiny gave a statement on Reddit. He titled it "Legal Arc Beginning in Mysterious Ways." Such wow. Which shows how unserious he is about this whole thing. Like, what if he gets criminally convicted? Will he label that his prison arc? He says he had no intention of these images or videos leaking, and that he hasn't spoken up for the following reasons. He was going to pursue litigation, most likely against the hacker and sites hosting the leaks. And
stop calling it a hacker. There's not a fucking hacker, Destiny. You gave this to a girl who gave it to someone else. I don't know about you, but that doesn't sound like a hacker to me. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did the term hacker change? Is there a new way that people hack where they just convince you to give them some material you probably wouldn't want people knowing you gave out, and then been like, that person hacked me? No, the fuck they didn't. You admitted full well that you shared this stuff.
And that he didn't want to bring publicity to the material. 3, I've been trying to move on from covering drama content as it has had an increasingly negative impact on those in my life. You want to move on? Now that the drama's about you, it's not fun anymore? People always act like they're above covering drama when they become the subject matter. 4,
exactly. Oh my God. It's so true. It is so true. Tipster, you know I love you, bro. You're my boy. You're my boy, Blue. But I do feel like you got fatigued when it came to drama because there was so much drama going on around you. And I can understand not wanting you not to be around drama, but when you've made your bread and butter on drama, but at the same time though, Tipster he doesn't seem like he wants anything to do with drama. I think he genuinely feels that way because he could easily go back to doing drama and probably restore his channel, but he'd rather not have YouTube at all than go back to drama. And that shows commitment to me. But Destiny's trying to do this whole I'm holier than thou thing. I've never liked drama. I mean, I liked it when it was making me a fortune and I was friends with everybody in the space and everybody would come to me with all their amazing dramas. But now that I'm the drama, I am not interested. Drama. I like, that's why I still have my whole second channel dedicated to drama. Yeah, my main channel's not dedicated to drama anymore, but I'm not gonna just walk away from drama because that's why a lot of you guys like watching me. You like to see what we cover here. Muda went down that road as well. Yeah, exactly, same thing, Blue Jay. And now he's saying he's gonna stop political streaming too. We could talk about Muda too. Yeah, that story is crazy as well. It's these guys who get so confident in what they say that they end up like getting caught saying some dumb shit, and all of a sudden like, well, I'm not talking about that stuff anymore. It's not worth it. Like, get over yourselves, guys. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect.
Or one person involved has expressed suicidal thoughts in relation to the matter, and I did not want to exacerbate the situation by talking about it publicly. Now that's a nice sentiment, but it's already all out there. The real reason he's quiet is because it's going through litigation. I can't help but roll my eyes when I read parts of this. I increasingly felt uncomfortable by the language being used regarding to financial punishment and wanting to teach me a lesson, along with constant references to the precariousness of someone's mental health.
Precariousness. It's okay, Willie Mack. Vocab's not your strong suit.
You're being punished. It's not supposed to be comfortable. You know it's bad when the top comment is, I wish my streamer watched horse porn instead.
I want to f a woman as a horse.
I can't.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Who watches these people? Who watches these people? Guys, if I tell you at any point that I want to fuck a horse as a woman, never come back and watch me again. Never watch me again. All right? Unless I say it as I'm saying it like Vosh. You know what I'm saying? Jaso says, did you see Destiny on Piers Morgan the other day? So nonplussed about everything. I don't care was his repeat line. Really? I'm surprised he was on Piers Morgan again.
I can't believe Destiny gave this guy a W. And his return stream wasn't any better, using the same song Dr. Disrespect came back with. Destiny's response isn't great. He's since banned all the alleged victims from his community. He said, bro, if I need to go on the sex offender list, I'm taking 20 other streamers with me. Okay, lol W. Who are these 20 other streamers? Is there a Google Drive where perverts on Twitch upload other people's nudes? I repeat, how long has this been going on for? How sorry could he be? Not very.
Yeah, I hope that he does. If Destiny can take down 20 other people, take them the fuck down, because we should know who these people are. I guarantee I'm not one of them, so I can give two shits who's on that list. And guess what? If somebody who I'm friends with is on that list, I would want to know, because I don't want to be friends with that person anymore. I hardly feel like anybody I'm friends with would be on that list, though. But if you are openly aware of people doing shady shit and you're keeping it to yourself, that makes you just, again, as bad.
Barry if he's been covering for 20 other streamers doing the same thing. But then I'm seeing Destiny's co-host Dan on one hand disavowing Destiny for what he did, and then on the other hand threatening acquaintances.
If you're one of my coworkers out there and you're making your little bit of a strong statement about how much you condemn Destiny and everything else, you better not let me find you doing something else and signing some other bullshit off for someone else, or you know, being weak. Because if that's gonna be the case, either be all the way in or all the way out. Okay, that's all I'm gonna tell you. All these half in the door motherfuckers, too much of a pussy to do anything else. Like, I get it, fine. If you're a content creator, you rely on this for your fucking life, then fine. Then f off. Then say that Destiny's a pervert, all that type of shit, and fucking go away forever. And that's what you should do. And f off permanently. Same front there. I will say that I think that Steve has changed a lot, especially over the last year, where he is not like that type of person anymore. You guys don't fucking you don't see it because you don't know who he is.
People don't want to hear about how much he's changed when this has all just happened.
Dan, please, for the love of God, shut the fuck up. All right, Dan? That'd be like me being like getting arrested last night and go, you know what, man? Wow. That night in jail really has changed me personally. I will never rob a bank again, because going into the robbing of the bank, I never truly realized just how dangerous it was to rob a bank until I ended up in jail for the night. You know what? And I feel like I've really grown. Can we just move on? Yeah, it happened yesterday, but can we just move on? Oh, God, this guy. Oh, shut up, Dan. Shut the fuck up, Dan. Go put on your Indiana Jones hat and just, I don't know, just shut the, I don't know. Whatever you do, just, I don't know. For some reason, the quote from the movie, "You shut your mouth when you're talking to me," just keeps coming to mind. Dan, shut your mouth when you're talking to me, okay?
You think that you're going to say a strong statement, say that you're not fucking with him right now, and come back in 2 months? Fuck you, is what I have to say. You're worse than anyone. You're definitely worse than me. At least I'm honest about the situation. I've known the dude for 15 years. I can say that what he did was fucked up. He knows what he did was fucked up. He knows that he has to change, and he knows he's going to have fucking consequences for it. But for you're just a fucking weasel.
Oh, how dare you? Oh, you wanted to be friends with us? Don't try to be friends with us. We'll find friends. There's always a bunch of people out there waiting to slob on our clout knob. Don't you worry about that, son. We will always find people. God, I can only imagine how shitty the people that are going to go into that community are going to be now. Like the people who they're going to have to be Destiny orbiters now. Oh, just the worst of the fucking worst.
All these motherfuckers that did this whole shit, all the way in, all the way out. Any of these motherfuckers try to come back in after they've done their little strong weasel statement doing it? That noise.
How do you know he's changed, Dan? Did you know he was doing this? It's such an odd statement. How is Dan playing both sides this hard? So unless you stand by Destiny, you can't ever engage with him again.
I like what Willie says here. He's so right. If Dan's like, oh yeah, you know, he's a changed man. He said he's known this guy for 15 years, but in this past year, Destiny's really changed as a person. So does that mean that Dan's known for the first 14 years that Destiny was doing this to women? And if so, Dan, you're just as fucking guilty for not warning these women to stay away from him. Or being like, hey, Destiny, you know, we're in a business together. Maybe you should stop doing this, being so reckless. If you are, I'm going to have to step away because you're going to destroy my reputation on top of yours at the same time. I'm sorry, I don't know what the fuck MROW's talking about. Moreau, I know you're not watching this right now, but I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. This video makes sense to me right now. We're a little less than halfway through it though, so it could change. But as of right now, like, I don't see what Willy's saying is wrong.
It's about to be a very lonely career. Abba called out Destiny, pointing out that this was always where his lifestyle was going to lead, and says that he has no respect for anyone he's intimate with.
I think that people look at some of the standard markers for trouble and they, for some reason, project a ton of stuff onto me, but I think I'm living like one of the healthiest, fullest lives that I possibly could be.
You know, constantly.
By the way, this clip here was in my 121,000 view TikTok. So let's take a second just to admit that you can do this, guys. It can. We've achieved it once. We could do it again.
Having poor relationships with women over a long period of time, or in other situations, STDs, different things like that. Eventually, that hedonism comes back to bite them in the life, and they also recognize they could have invested that time a lot better.
Right?
No, shut up, Melina. Shut up. Let him talk. What do you mean? Constantly
Right there. Shut the fuck up, wife. Shut the fuck up, wife. I'm talking to him. The men are speaking, wife. Shut up. Like, that should tell you everything you need to know about that relationship.
Life that's going to increase like your ability to like have fun or do like crazy stuff or whatever is always going to carry with it like the risk of death, right?
Absolutely.
Like, you have no chance of dying by falling out of a plane unless you go skydiving, but that's not an argument against never skydiving.
But it is an argument against maybe skydiving 1,000 times if you don't want to die that way.
Well, if you want to skydive 1,000 times, then fucking skydive 1,000 times. Like, what's wrong? Damn, what happened to all the self-empowerment shit that you guys were talking about earlier? If your lifestyle choices are like, damn, I would never want to deal with like a crazy girl or anything like that, that's totally valid. I think it's totally fine. I accept that that's probably true for most people. But like, I'm okay with the trade-off on that for like all the benefits that I get. I like f***ing a lot of people. I like traveling a lot. I
like filming them without their consent.
Doing drugs. I like my stream shit. That's like super fun for me to be like, well,
I like doing drugs. I like recording women without their consent. I don't care if I know I might get in trouble for it one day and it might end my career and leave me looking like one of the worst people on the internet. But you know what? I'm okay with that because the sex is great. That's essentially what he just said. Hope she leaves and gets half his... I mean, she already left New Moon. Melina left a long time ago, and she should be entitled to at least... Unless they did like a prenup, but she should be entitled to some of his money. Melina's coming out looking like an absolute G here, though.
Doesn't bad stuff happen sometimes so you shouldn't do it? That doesn't compute to me.
Or others, because I think the main thing with this is you have to think about the activity. The activity involves hurting others. Like, even Destiny, as good as he is at what he does, probably could admit he's broken a lot of hearts, he's disappointed a lot of women, he's made a lot of people upset. It's not just how he feels about it. When you involve other people in this kind of pursuit of pleasure, other people get hurt as well. I'll stand by what I said at the beginning. I don't feel bad for Steven whatsoever because he knew what he was getting into.
Yep, this
he
was in my clip
brazen
too.
About it. When he was warned, when he said, hey, this is a bad idea, this is a bad lifestyle, he said, I don't care, I want to have fun. It's fun for me. That's why I like these mentally ill women.
He's had this public view for years. But no, guys, Dan and Kyla says he's changed in the past month.
If you're currently hanging out with like a streamer that does like denial all day, every day, or that has someone on a DUI or something along those lines, like... It's going to be, once we find that out, I think that's like going to be kind of a rough one to be like why you threw someone under the bus just for clout.
Such a weird.
Oh my God. If we find out you have a DUI and you bash Destiny, you're in so much trouble, bro. Don't even try it. Don't even try it. We'll come and get you. We're going to get you if you try to come after Destiny and we find out anything. He's threatening the shit out of people. This is so stupid. Dan, shut the fuck up. I'm going to say it again. Just shut up.
Weird threat to throw out there to try and keep people in line. Well, I've hung out with a person who got a DUI, Dan. What are you gonna do about it? So I reached out to Destiny for some clarification. There's no point in even reading them to you because he copy and pasted the same response to every question. That he doesn't want to comment farther until he's past litigation. He clarifies, I'm aware that these answers are super unsatisfying, and it sucks it looks super guilty for me to respond this way. And even this might be saying too much. But any statement that I make could become part of a record for any court case. For any number of things that are foreseen and unforeseen to me right now. And there's a possibility that I say something that feels true but ends up not being true in the future. He then gives an example on how seemingly throwaway comments can lead to big consequences in court. He's right, because honestly, what is he supposed to do? Incriminate himself? He's going to let the legal process play out. So I asked Destiny if there was any false narratives being pushed, and if there was anything he wanted me to say that wasn't already public. He replied with people validating prior individuals who are insane, despite there being no evidence to validate them, is crazy conspiratorial nonsense. I assume he's talking about Mr. Girl's document where he lists every girl who has ever had a problem with Destiny.
Oh, okay. Well, now I understand why Moreau is upset about this. Now I understand why Moreau is upset about this. Moreau loves Mr. Girl, and he's not probably happy that Willie Mack's taking a shot at Mr. Girl here.
Destiny continues, there's obviously multiple affected parties, but it's rich that all of these people who cry about cancel culture and innocent until proven guilty have no problems making the most insane assumptions about a man and have no problem engaging with people who are insanely toxic when it comes to male victims of any kind of weird sexual shit. He defended himself a bit more on Twitter against Nick, saying, I didn't admit to anything. Meanwhile, you can just read the messages where Destiny says, yeah, I know. I've damaged her severely. Nobody cares about you being the victim because you caused all of this.
Yep.
There is no expectation for Kiwi Farms being the good guy. They have the leaks because you shared them with Rose.
Yep.
He goes on to say that people named Lav and Kelly Jean have been distributing his nudes, revenge porn in the literal truest sense. How many crazy women are part of this guy's life? At what
Roger's a guy named Mr. Girl who Morale's a big fan of. And I think that they were just talking about how Mr. Girl was still not right or something. And I think that's probably why Morale's so up in arms about this, because Morale's a big proponent of. Now, I'm going to be the first to admit, like, I thought that what Willie Mack, the video he did about 4 years ago on Nerd City was just absolute garbage. So I've seen Willie Mack make bad videos too, but I don't think this is one of them.
At what point can I victim blame him? Ryan Beard's telling a story about how some girl named Anna is stalking you, and your solution was to sext her.
He did stalk me.
That she locked. Okay, then why are you sexting with her still?
We're cool. We've been cool for a year, Max.
Okay, so you acknowledge that you've been sexting with her for a year.
Yeah, we've had on and off, sure. Well, Max, can you acknowledge that I haven't said anything bad about her for a year? I've said we've been fine. I've said that over.
The last time I talked to you about her, like 2 weeks ago, or 16 days ago or something, you said that she locked you in the basement of her mind, and it was a traumatic experience for you. Locked you in the basement of her mind.
In the past. In the past, Max.
Oh, okay.
Why? Tell me, Max. Why hasn't Anna come forward with any of this information now? Can you tell me, or do you want me to tell everybody why?
I don't want to speak on her behalf.
Okay, I will. It's because she said she literally wants to remain friends with me.
He had his whole community feeling bad for him being stalked as he was doing this. There are parts of streams where he's condemning people for sharing nudes non-consensually.
Yeah, you know, me and Melina have problems, but I don't think I f***ed up at all in this. I'm not running around screen sharing people's nudes.
Bro, that obviously was not true. Blue Jay says, Mr. Girl is a disgusting person in my opinion. Yeah, I don't know much about him, but I just know Morale's a big fan of him. That's all I could say about that. I haven't done any deep dive on Mr. Girl, but I know that Morale's team Mr. Girl all the way.
Shows that he knows this was bad. He was using this to expose someone. The embarrassing part about this drama isn't that a video leaked of Destiny sucking an Oscar Mayer, it's that he's thrown away his credibility. He comes off like a fraud. We did speak in the off-the-record voice call. It was not recorded, and he was giving off the vibe that things might not be what they seem, but because of litigation, I couldn't know what he was referring to. I certainly couldn't just blindly believe him. You look at his social media, and he's memeing about the whole thing, posting himself dressed as Dr. Disrespect. Yeah, Dan and Kyla, you're right. Destiny's totally rehabilitated and remorseful over this whole thing. It's very obvious. So is Destiny's career over because of this? Well, if Tim Pool can frame himself as a patriot while secretly taking Russian money, Vosh can say Lolly makes you a pedo while having a folder full of Lolly, Hassan can frame himself as more credible than the media while reporting every story wrong, and Tyler Oliveira can pretend to be a journalist while just making up stories on the spot, then why wouldn't Destiny recover from this? Let's be honest, the real punishment is Hassan will bring this up every chance he gets.
Honestly, if I ever got in any kind of debate with Destiny from here on out, you better believe I'm bringing it out. If he's like, oh, well, the conservatives did this, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Is this coming from the guy who used to film girls and then share them with other girls without their consent? It's all right. Yeah, anything you say from here on out is pretty much worthless at this point.
I can't believe that there are still Destiny fans in here. He kind of made you, though. Why you so ungrateful? He brought you in, no. Why not just talk it out, bro? He was your friend at one point. Dude, I don't know if you understand. We're having a conversation about this dude serially making sex tapes of the people he sometimes consensually and sometimes not.
By the way, no way in hell am I ever going to be like, okay, well, Hassan W., shut the fuck up, Hassan. You're an idiot.
Non-consensually records and is unconsensually sending to other people that he wants to fuck. And you're like, why don't you become friends with that guy?
You know what? Hassan and Destiny deserve each other. Let's put it that way. They deserve each other. Now, I will say, I don't think Hassan has, as far as I know, has done anything like this. I know he platforms terrorists and shit, but I mean, at least morally, Hassan's now got the higher ground.
Again, I don't know, because he's gross.
And Hassan is totally right. You know how hard that is to say? Again, if you're a left-leaning political viewer, your options are cooked. But seriously, it seems like if you have a...
They keep saying, oh, The left needs a Joe Rogan of the left. We need a Joe Rogan of the left. You will never get a Joe Rogan of the left. You want to know why? Because the minute anybody tries to get even remotely honest with you, you start calling them a fascist. You start saying that they're bigoted. Like, that's why you will never have a Joe Rogan of the left, because you cannot take honest criticism. The minute anybody tries to be even the slightest bit honest with you, y'all flip the fuck out. And then you go, you're kicked out of the club. That's why you'll never have a Joe Rogan of the left. That's why. And Joe Rogan wasn't even on the right for the longest time. It's just that people who were conservatives were much more open-minded to hear other people's arguments. They just were more interested in hearing what made sense. That's why. Ishif says, easy to get the higher ground to an insect. Yes. Yeah. I mean, at this point, most people have the higher ground of both Destiny and Hassan. As long as you haven't done something irrevocably harmful to other people, you have the higher ground on Destiny and Hassan now. Congratulations.
Political audience, you could get away with anything. You have Joe Biden's millionaire drug-fueled son getting pardoned after he said he wouldn't do it, and Donald Trump, our current sitting president, was part of an electoral scheme. But no, this is when political audiences finally take a stand. Sure, these audiences will excuse everything because they think the ends justifies the means. Hearing Lonerbox lay out his 2025 aspirations is hilarious until you realize how true it is.
I look forward to sometime coming back when I can like brand myself as the only remaining political streamer who doesn't have sex scandals and doesn't support terrorists. For some reason, it's always one or the other.
They're very musical people.
Are you being serious?
Dog, what do you look? You think I made this?
This isn't music. I know they're singing, but I'm seeing just guns and shoot. This isn't a music video, Hassan.
No, it is. They do musicals about like their actions all the time.
Yeah, they're militarized action.
When I looked at it, I think the vibe that I got was like short stack, thick kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like the way like goblins get drawn in porn.
The fuck?
Niggas press their luck in, they get a butt fucking straight up the ass raw dog with the rash.
Destiny was objectively wrong for this and deserves all of the backlash. I think it's important to acknowledge that the people who exposed this story were not looking out for the victims at all. In fact, they were actively working against their best interests. In comes President Sunday and Beckett. Neither of these people had direct contact with Destiny, Kyla, Pixie, or anyone else involved in this story. They never even tried to reach out, yet they were the ones who posted videos outing the whole thing. The only information they have comes from Aaron leaking all of Pixie's messages. They are only working with second-hand information. In Sunday's video, he says Pixie's silence was bought in exchange for Destiny paying for her law school, leaving all the other victims out to dry.
Pixie has since said nothing publicly.
I do feel weird about Beckett being involved in this video. I don't feel like anything Beckett did, and Beckett made it very clear that he wasn't trying to moral grandstand with Destiny. He was just giving the information that he had. And his information was correct, from what I understand.
There has been no evidence of legal proceedings being pursued, and she has seemingly ceased communications with the people she was previously working with, instead posting on X about taking the LSAT in pursuit of law school. It appears as though her attempt to extort Destiny has probably paid off, albeit at the expense of every other person Destiny has victimized in the past and will victimize in the future.
His evidence for this is a single tweet of her saying she took the LSAT, as if you could just sign up and pass this test within a month. So at this point, my mind was blown that someone would out a victim for a 100K view video while the victim was still discussing their options, and then determine their silence was bought over a tweet. No need to confirm anything. So
I will say the President Sunday, when this first came out, I was thrilled that Destiny was finally being exposed. I was excited that Destiny was finally being, I don't know, getting his just comeuppance. At the same time, I did feel like if I was Pixie's dad and I was the father of the situation and God forbid my daughter was the one, if she didn't want to get out, because now had President Sunday not talked about this, chances are most people would not know that Pixie was in these videos. Most people don't use Kiwi Farms. Now it is so popular and so mainstream that everybody knows who Pixie is. Everybody knows what she looks like. Well, at least the guys who gooned to the video or people who've seen it. And that's sad because victims do have a say in whether or not they feel comfortable in going out. It was never President Sunday's or Beckett's right to go forward with this shit on behalf of a victim. I feel like Beckett wouldn't have been on blast if he waited to release his video a couple days after Sunday's. Yeah, I agree too, Blue Jay. I do feel like Beckett probably jumped the gun in hopes of being able to get the scoop. You know, that's like the content brain version of Beckett that's out there. The businessman Beckett. Plus, again, most of us aren't intimately connected to Pixie. But as a father, I also can understand Pixie's right in this whole situation.
I reached out to Pixie to try and confirm if she ever talked to Sunday or Beckett about this. Pixie has pursued litigation against Destiny. However, she did let Lonerbox, who she's dating, provide some details.
No worries, Sirach.
Sunday, reach out to Pixie one time to see if you can go live with this video or to confirm that the draft was canceled or anything like that.
No, he didn't.
It is so incredibly selfish of Sunday and Beckett to insert themselves into a situation where they take agency away from Pixie. Because one, she's pursuing legal action, and you guys making this public gives Destiny ample time to delete evidence, while Pixie's team was still building their case. I know I look smart enough to come up with that point myself. I'm not, so take that how you will. 4 days before Sunday released his video, he had
I guess he's insinuating that someone told him that. But here's where it gets messy, because Nick is involved in this whole thing too. And Nick was a part of this well before Willie was, and Willie's friends with Nick. So I'm interested. I'm very, very interested to see what Willie's going to say about Nick right here.
a conversation with Nick acknowledging that Pixie was suicidal over this leaking.
All I'm getting from this is she's really not going to want this to be public. She wants to hurt Steven, but she doesn't want this to be known that she's done this and this is her.
Yeah.
And she desperately doesn't want her family to know. And if I cover it, there's a good chance they will find out.
Oh, 100%. Why do you think I haven't covered this at all? Like that's my principal issue.
Yeah, that's
here's the thing. If anything happens to Pixie in the foreseeable future,
it all drops.
Well, he will actually be destroyed then. That will be insurmountable. Not destroyed. He'll have his channel. He'll have his audience. But there will be no
politics.
The media company dream will not be a thing. So
it sounds like he's getting excited over the idea of Pixie killing herself and it ending Destiny's career.
It does. I'm sorry, I hate to say it, but it does. It does sound like President Sunday. I think President Sunday was so obsessed with taking down Destiny, which, don't get me wrong, I'm happy to see this motherfucker finally get his comeuppance. But at the same time, I guess the point you have to ask yourself, what is happening to Pixie and a victim who's being exploited for Destiny to be punished? And then that also begs the question, would Pixie have actually done this litigation had it not gone public? This is going to be a case-by-case point. I get, again, why people wanted this to come out. I do feel bad for what's happening to Pixie. I do feel terrible. But at the same time...
This dude sounds like a psychopath. In fact, during his call with Nick, he gives a hypothetical saying as much.
Here's the thing. Let's assume I was a psychopath, and I'm not, okay? Somebody saying these things would be enough to deter me. Let's assume I was a psychopath. Let's assume I published this.
President Sunday talks with Nick. They both agree that going live without the victim's consent is a bad idea, and President Sunday does it anyway. Actual psychopath behavior. President Sunday's justification for this was that Pixie was engaging in extortion against Destiny.
Fortunately, Pixie did the worst thing that someone in her position could do.
First off, can we all just agree, right? President Sunday gets no ass. Can we just be very clear about that? Like, one look at the guy, he ain't fucking. That guy does not fuck. Also, I dare say I don't think Diorio fucks either. Beckett, though. Beckett looks like he fucks. You take these guys who probably don't have a lot of set, not a whole lot of one-night stands, if you will, Dwag. You're trying to leave it to these guys to be the moral bastion of what is appropriate for a sexual relationship. I can guarantee you that President Sunday has not had enough sex or sexual encounters with women to know what the rules are in regards to this type of shit. Therefore, he just like, whatever, dude. I don't care. I ain't fucking. If I ain't fucking, ain't nobody fucking, especially Destiny.
Rather than seek legal recourse or make a public statement denouncing the violation of her consent and dignity that these leaks represented, she seems to have ultimately chosen to try and profit from the situation by extorting Destiny.
I don't understand how Pixie discussing what her next step is or what the correct form of punishment should be equaling extortion, because that's how most civil cases start. Destiny even says in his statement on Reddit that Pixie at no point made a specific or explicit request for compensation. So I asked President Sunday, did you talk to a lawyer or is this just your layman interpretation of the law? Because let's be real, I don't think there's any way she gets charged for this. President Sunday says, yes, I spoke with lawyers I know. You know what their answer was? Obviously. I asked, can you link me to the statement from the lawyer you spoke with, saying assuming these DMs count as extortion. And he says they were IRL conversations, so no. So I asked who the lawyer was because I would love to confirm this. And he replies, it's someone I know. Go find your own lawyer. It's so obvious to me.
No way, bro. That's my lawyer. Get your own. Yo, Napoleon, let me get some of your tots. No way. Get your own.
Oh, man, that's funny. That's funny.
My lawyer. It's my lawyer. I hired him first.
Leave it to YouTubers to make such a mess out of something so serious.
Me that he's lying. You're telling me that you talked to a lawyer but didn't get any on-the-record statement for your video? Sure. To confirm it even farther, President Sunday did a stream leaking all of our DMs. His editor Kilo came forward exposing that President Sunday never talked to a lawyer.
He claims he's consulted lawyers about this. Originally, he told me, Kilo, you're not a lawyer. I was raised by one and took law courses in university. But then when he was talking to Aiko, she asked if he spoke to lawyers, and he said, I spoke to people who know lawyers.
Who did you speak to?
Several people I can't name, but just
lawyers,
trust me on this.
Lawyers.
People who know lawyers.
But then...
Oh my god. He's so full of shit. President Sunday, dude, I hate to break it to you, bro.
You were so blinded by whether or not you shoulda.
Wait, what's the Jeff Goldblum thing?
You were so preoccupied with whether or not you could, you never stopped to think whether or not you should.
It's a perfect example here. Oh my god. It's so true. Well, I do appreciate you taking Destiny out at the same time, bro. Like, I'm so glad I'm not you either, but I would never be in this situation. I probably would have went to Pixie first and been like, listen, don't want to do this without talking to you first and seeing if you're comfortable with this, but I feel like this would be good for you to come forward. You could help out other victims too. And if she said no after that, I'd be like, okay, fine, it's dead. I won't talk about it. I've buried videos for less. I've buried stories for less because it's important to me that people who are involved in these situations are heard.
When he was talking with Willie Mack, he said he spoke directly to lawyers, but won't mention who.
So Sunday is just lying. Lying to make the victim seem like a bad guy so he doesn't look insane for making his video.
Beckett of Krabs, myself, and President Sunday sat down to present evidence, put together a timeline, and establish what the mission of the project was. I was a little anxious, but also excited to learn what President Sunday had, and I wanted to find out what the justification was for coming out with the story, the nuke. But we started the meeting, and after only about 10 minutes, I interjected. Sunday didn't have a nuke. I'm not even sure Beckett had much of anything. And the only real reason for publishing that was given to me was that because Pixie was supposedly trying to extort Destiny, she was somehow implicated in the cover-up efforts by Destiny and his associates, and therefore had forsaken her right to privacy, or something like that. I don't...
Is this JSLK guy or whatever his name is? I'm not familiar with who this guy is.
Oh, no.
Sunday does every stream in front of a wall of books, draws himself sitting on a pile of books. He's so knowledgeable, repeatedly calling me stupid in DMs for asking straightforward questions. Meanwhile, he's comfortable just making things up because he's above saying, I don't know, or I could be in the wrong. The dumbest people I talk to seem to think they're geniuses. Just a pattern I'm recognizing. He's lying about being an intellect.
Yeah, look at him. Tell me this guy does not fuck. That guy on screen, like right here, where's he at? Right here. No, over here. This guy, he don't fuck. Just be honest. He might read a lot of books, but that don't make you smart. The number one way to be good at not putting yourself in a shitty situation on social media is to be street smart. That's why Willy's doing so well right now. You get all caught up in intellectual thought or whatever, you're going to bury yourself. But you need to 100% have street smarts to survive in this game, sir. To survive and not put yourself in a situation like this. I thought Beckett had a lot more street smarts, but I feel like Beckett might have got caught up in the scoop of things. Plus, Beckett does tend to find a lot of research faster than most people because he's so good at it. It's got to put him in a weird situation. At least for me, since I'm like such a laid-back hippie that I always end up like getting to this shit like well after everybody else is, and I could just point and be like, wow, look at everybody being so stupid. I don't think Beckett was stupid in this, though. I personally have no problem with Beckett. I think Beckett kind of got fucked over by President Sunday, to be honest with you. He looks like a character out of Star Wars. He does. Like, he's like the guy who's the janitor at the cantina.
I don't know how to pick up a lightsaber, but I sure know how to build one.
Intellectual the same way he lied about talking to a lawyer. I'm not convinced he could read Dr. Seuss. He's malicious. He's acted like a psychopath. He outed a victim's story when she was working on the court case. Slandered her.
An American citizen who finds themselves a victim of revenge pornography has several valid actions they can take. Let's go over 3. First, they can seek legal recourse. Second, they may make a public statement denouncing the person who leaked the materials and violated their consent. And in fact, this can be done in conjunction with the first option I mentioned. And finally, they can choose to do nothing. They can stay silent and hope that it all blows over. And this is their right.
He does kind of have a Job of the Hut vibe.
But Pixie
I feel it.
did not do any of these.
She was in the middle of doing the first two things, and then you robbed her of the third. But yeah, keep acting like the good guy. He's the type of person I hope never becomes a successful YouTuber. If you're a victim, why would you ever want to share your story? He's shown it's going to leak. Then
I will say, after what President Sunday did to Diorio, I feel like a lot of people are going to be much less likely to talk to him about anything. I'm a political scientist who talks about stuff. No, you are fucking not, bro. You ain't no political scientist. At least Cope and Cease is just mauled, etc.
And people you've never talked to are going to publicize it. You will be vilified by them because they don't care about you or your legal case at all. If I had any advice for
sweep the hallway. Pick up my blood stains that I left from shooting Han Solo. Wait, I can't. I was trying to get real in touch with my nerd stuff here, but I didn't. Guido. I almost called him Guido. But the guy that Han shot first.
Sunday would be to apologize to Pixie and the victims, not just post a pinned comment half backtracking what you're saying. Also shower, get a haircut, go outside. You aren't mature enough to cover.
Yo, what's wrong with hair, bro? You better never tell me to get a haircut, bro. We'll be in Creator Clash 4. You might be able to bully around these other nerds, but I'm on your level, bro.
Cover these sort of things if you don't have basic hygiene. The video made by Sunday's former editor details the clown show that was. It's the most comedic tragedy I've ever watched.
With all due respect, I'm not sure you think you know what you're saying when you say you have to, because when you
I didn't say have to. I didn't say that. You said that. I said you have an expectation. And you said, well, I don't have to do that. And I'm not saying you have to do anything. I'm saying there's an expectation that you do this thing. When you're communicating with someone in private, they're expecting that you're not going to show that to other people without asking. If they're asleep.
They're asleep, yeah. If people are asleep, they're not expecting anything. They're kind of just out, right?
Are you trolling me right now?
No, I'm actually making a serious point.
The conversations he had with his editor are psychotic.
Why the f are you adding extra risks to this? We're already in enough.
You think we're in danger? I don't think
we're in tremendous danger. So you don't think, for example, if you said something that was able to be effectively spun by someone like Nick DeOrio that managed to get some traction that cast aspersions on my entire channel, that income plummeted so I can't pay you, that doesn't affect you?
It's about me. How does this affect Sunday? How can I manipulate my editor into staying quiet? I also talked to Beckett, who worked somewhat with Sunday and dropped his video on the same day. Now his wasn't nearly as bad, but he still went forward with the video knowing only secondhand information. Really third hand because he's getting it from Sunday. Recognize you're getting your information secondhand. At any point, did you try to reach out to Pixie?
No. But to be clear, this was a very brief period, a couple of days. I clearly did want to reach out to people. There was actually a conversation where I wanted to reach out to Lonerbox. Because I don't know Pixie.
But why did you reach out to Lonerbox?
I didn't. But
because they're fucking Americans. And I spit on the Americans. I could care less about what happens to you American folks. Just tell them what you really mean, Beckett.
But that's partly because of what Loner had just done on the stream. I think that's a mistake, by the way. I'll own that mistake. But I obviously wanted to reach out to people. For instance, I went to FPS Diesel for an optics check on the DMs and what he thought. I was reaching out to Nick.
Nick and Diesel, no less than Beckett and Sunday. What does going to them do? Realize why I'm so...
I know how Beckett got brought into the whole Diesel thing because Xylie's go-to guy. And Beckett's real close with Xylie. Xylie's close with Diesel. They're all cool people, but it's a weird situation for all people. Beckett's only been doing this as long as I have, and he doesn't have the time in this space like Willie does. So you can't expect Beckett to have all the experience that Willie does.
Critical, though, of you and Sunday. Because hold on, you're telling me, though, you're telling me, though, that this was done over a couple of days. You didn't bother to reach out to Lonerbox or Pixie. And you guys went for the story anyway. How did you even get the draft? Was that from Aaron too?
Sorry, get the
draft of like Pixie's draft statement.
Yeah, I showed that in the DMs. Yeah.
So you guys have a draft from her. It seems like she's going to come out in some way because she has a fucking written draft. Like it just seems, it blows my mind, man. Like you've been somebody where I've been told over and over again, nah, dude, Cope and Seed is great. He does great videos. Takes a lot of care with them, and it's like, to me, I'd look at this and I'm like, I cannot it just seems like such a selfish story.
Well, hold on, let me be clear. I don't think selfish is that. I think I can take a lot of criticism. I think there are issues there, but I don't think selfish is that.
In what way is that not selfish?
Well, because I didn't do this to get clout or money or like acclaim.
I see what Willie's saying, though. I do see what Willie's saying. Though. Why release so soon if not for the notoriety? Why release so soon? Why not wait? Beckett. So I don't know. Beckett's never struck me as a guy who cares about clout. But at the same time, it's like you see him do something like this and then you wonder, well, why did you have to put it out the same day as Sunday, though, then? If not for that 1-2 punch.
I thought this was going to end my fucking channel. Sunday was going to release a video. I thought, I know Sunday, and I thought what needed to be done at the same time was painting a picture of what happened behind the scenes to explain why so many people had these DMs. What I needed.
I mean, I'm not going to even sugarcoat it. I was fucking on this shit like white on rice. Like, the minute this came out, we were covered that same night. So, yeah, and I was trying to get on this as soon as possible because it was breaking. I get why Beckett would do it. But at the same time, you know, Willie's also right. Both these guys can be right at the same time. But at this point, I feel like Willie's kind of got a better point. But Willie's notorious for not rushing out stories. So if anybody has the right to sit here and say this, it's Willy.
It was Sunday's DMs with Straighter Aid. I didn't expect this to be a video where I'd get like pats on the back.
Can you say again why you think it would damage you?
What, the video?
Yeah, before you made it.
Because I recognized that once these were coming out, the people who were releasing them would get rightfully a fair amount of criticism for doing so.
Then why
but
would
I
you
also
release it?
Because, well, for some, I've said publicly as well, if Sunday wasn't releasing his video, I wouldn't have released the same video. I probably wouldn't have acted in the same way. But Sunday looked at these are coming out. He wants to talk about it. Well, okay. It needs a companion piece.
So because he is jumping off of a bridge, you're doing it too, dude? Oh, man.
I like Beckett. I'm going to be very clear. I do like Beckett. That was a bad moment. His video's coming out. It needs a companion piece. Does it, though? Did it, Beckett? I don't feel like it needed a companion piece. You should have just let President Sunday fuck himself over. Although, if I were in Beckett's situation, I can't say what would happen. Because every once in a while, the content creator in you is like, take risks, take chances. So in that respect, I do get where Beckett's position was. But Willie being in this, first off, has anybody checked with Xylee? Because these are like her two main boys fighting right now. It's like her kids fighting. But had I been in Beckett's situation, I don't know what I would have done. I really don't. I probably would have released it and then been like, you know what, whatever fucking happens, I guess happens. I don't know, because I probably might have waited knowing that Pixie wasn't involved. And being a dad of a little girl, I don't know if I could pull the trigger on that. Again, I'm not in his position though, so I could just sit here and try to tell you which way I could best go about this. But at the same time, you know, I'm not the guy who having to deal with all this shit, thank God. This is your fault for being too good at your job, Beckett. Maybe you should be a little more shitty at it like I am.
Well, like, and again, this is what I'm saying. It's, you know, it's something I expected to do damage to me. But also, what was the other option? Lie about it?
No, the other option is to do what literally
on.
everybody else did, and you just wait, let everybody else shoot themselves in the foot if he's going to be reckless with the victim and her claims and hijack her story. Like, you realize she was talking to lawyers during this, and they're gathering information. Fucking crazy.
Listen, I'm on many levels, I'm with you. And I think one of my constant comments through this is, how does this reach me? I am like 5th person down the chain. How does this reach me with no one doing any of that?
It just makes me go, like, how were you the person to feel like you should make that video?
Because I thought it was such a fucking mess that at least I could make an uneditorialized.
Yours I don't think was as bad, but just the premise of this whole thing, when I talk to everybody, it's just...
I think it is a mess.
Beckett is the only person I talked to that acknowledged wrongdoing and said he would go about things differently in the future. Takeaway seems to be what I think is the most important thing, and that's that you have to reach out to Pixie. You got to make clear, or Lonerbox, and you got to make clear of like, hey, this is what I know. This is the story I'm thinking of running. I want to know, like, what's going on with this? Are you guys pursuing anything? And then they could go ahead and like give you the guidelines to it. Like, hey, look, we're talking legally. We'd rather this not come out.
Yeah, like, again, I'm not defending every part of this, and I don't want to. I mean, this is how I started the call, right?
Which is more than any other person I talked to. He became very critical of himself, especially as things moved off the record. I respect him for that.
When I met you, I admit my first thoughts was a trick. You look so good, huh? I suck on your daddy's dick.
Every day that passes, the drama gets more hilarious. Destiny and Hassan are watching each other's content nukes while refusing to view their own. I get he's going through a legal case, but at some point he needs to address that video. During my off-the-record off-the-record conversation with Beckett, he asked me a pointed question. When would you associate with Destiny again? If he was part of some drama as a side character and I interviewed him, I would do it then, but I don't think I could just go hang on his podcast anymore. Destiny and I were not friends. However, I have a lot of respect for him. He's the only major creator in the political space that I have covered that actually looks stuff up, reads first-hand information, and directly engages with his critics. That may seem like a low bar, but
it's a fucking real low bar. But that's the left side for you, I guess, right? That's the left side. Real fucking low bar. I guarantee you guys, if I swung over to the Democratic side of things right now, I would be a hero until I said something they didn't like, and then I'd be kicked out of the club. But I'd be huge because I'd actually be reasonable and make good arguments. All the people who make the best arguments are already on the conservative side because anybody with 2 brain cells were probably like, well, the conservatives are making a lot more fucking sense here, aren't they?
it's rare. He's somebody that has always demanded accountability from others, but right now when he's objectively in the wrong, he's not taking any of it. He's calling Nick a hypocrite for saying innocent until proven guilty with Ethan, but not treating himself that way. Nick then makes very clear, you shared Pixie's intimate videos with a random 19-year-old OnlyFans model, and then posted logs where you admitted to severely damaging her, and he links the messages of Destiny doing just that. I'm the kind of person that could forgive anyone for about anything, but there needs to be remorse, and he's obviously not there yet. His coworkers cover for him saying he is, but I don't see it. I don't see how anyone could take him seriously until then. I also want to emphasize how good the video was by President Sunday's former editor, Kilo. He actively tried to correct the record, and his video has very few views. He gave up money to try and do the right thing, and I think that should be acknowledged. Hope you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel, and shout out to the homies over on Patreon.
All right. That's Willie Mack's video. Overall, I'd say it was pretty good. I don't know what Moreau was fucking talking about. I don't know what Moreau is all on and about. Anyway, I did want to look at some of the fallout, though, that happened between Willie Mack Show, Moreau, me, Himpleton, all on X. Willie's been talking about a lot of this stuff today. So 3 hours ago, he wrote, there's no shot that there is 2 positive articles come out about this dude on the same day with the same narrative. And people are trying to say that Hassan Piker should be the Joe Rogan of the left, which if they do, they're done. They're done for. Hassan will destroy the Democratic Party and make nobody trust him ever again. Never trust him. That's me right there, guys. Personally, I'm loving all this drama. So much to talk about. Nick says, the only time I've ever seen Willie Mack Show intentionally glaze someone is when he renamed his I'm Alex is the biggest douchebag video on a false rape accuser to I'm Alex, the big mistake, because Willie shared a beer with him at VidCon the previous week before release. This is entirely untrue. My video came out after VidCon. It looks like Thurio's just busting his balls. All right, now I want to get back to where the Moreau stuff is. If Hassan is the answer Democrats are looking for, they're doomed. That's true. Queeman is so fucking stupid. He is defending Sunday, making up that he talked to lawyers. LOL, sweep, 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 cope, cope, cope. All these retards think they're bullies, but the minute Smaggle owns him, he has to kick him and cry. They are literally making up that I have editors. I don't believe that Willie has editors. Smaggle says, Doomer Media. First off, yeah, if Smaggle owns you, you messed up. He helped me make 2 videos last year. Every time I pay for someone to do work, I tell people in my video. I do everything myself. I've been very transparent on this channel. Not that anybody gives a fuck what I do, but all EG Lately videos are edited by me. But if it's a Later with Lately stream, I do share the responsibility editing those with Ruggiero. So they won. You're Willie Mack. Queeman says, don't kick him. He left. Feel free to call in instead of falling for bait messages by mentally disabled commentary gimps. Don't know why you were lying about this, Quee, says Smaggle. Why are you so protective of that psychopath Sunday? It's always correct and based to bully a tard like Smaggle. That's true, though. That is very true. Some people just need to be bullied. Daily reminder that Willie knew about the Destiny allegations and that to this day, he keeps playing dumb. He could have just reached out to Destiny and asked some questions, but I guess that's too much work. Mentally disabled commentary gimps, brother, that's you. You're one of them. That's true. Queeman is. He's still a shitter. Yeah, he might be above average shitter, but he's still a shitter. All right, so I think this is Moreau. So this is some of the Moreau stuff that started here. Let's take a look here. This is what I was talking about with commentary civil war. You flirted with a 17-year-old. Someone says to not Moreau. People glazing the Willie Mack video is literally the Mama Max got away with their bullshit like it or not. So he's saying that the reason that Mama Max got away with it so long was for the same reason that Willie Mack show. Yeah, a lot of people are saying that Moreau's a little off base with some of this stuff. Ever since I've known Moreau, he likes to cause problems and likes to debate people. If he can get the attention of Willie Mack to get it, he will. I don't debate people just for the sake of debating them. But again, like I've said before, he's pretty clear in regards to his love for that Mr. Girl fellow. This is what I wanted to find earlier. So Hippleton made this video earlier, just called Queeman Just Opened His Mouth, and I'm in this. So Moreau says, I love pregnant teenagers, F. And then Watercloak says, the man keeps deleting his tweets because he knows his love for teenagers getting pregnant is concerning. He hopes no one will find the Discord DMs. Let's be clear, I personally don't think Moreau is a pedo. I think that he does it from a provocateur-esque stance. It's like a game he kind of plays. You guys see here, I just wrote, I'm just happy to be here because I was like, I'm in this video. What is your TL dog? Lots of anime for some reason. So I think he's just using this. Oh, here I am. Okay. So he's just kind of using this, I think, to try to stunt on Moreau a little bit. Moreau wrote, the terrible quality and lack of information in Willie Mack's recent Destiny video makes me wonder if he has had similar blunders, but nobody has thought about checking them. I'll be the first to admit, yeah, Willie Mack's had a terrible video about Nerd City before. Is pretty pathetic display. It's honestly a pretty pathetic display to have made such an awful video about such an easy target. Is Destiny an easy target? Now, yes, he is. But I messaged Moreau and said, I haven't scrutinized it, but it seemed like normal Willie Mack vid to me. And I still agree. After scrutinizing it, I still feel like this video, I don't know what the fuck Moreau's talking about. Extremely lazy video. Leaves out information, doesn't verify information while criticizing others for doing the same thing. People were literally DMing him information and he refused to include it for some reason, and he spends far too long discussing Sunday for some reason. Well, Sunday is the whole point of the thing. Like he's not gonna go after Beckett. He's not gonna go after Beckett because Beckett was honest with him. I don't know. It just does seem like a bunch of angry motherfucking commentators in here. That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like. Yeah, I don't know. That's some stupid thing I was doing trolling. You guys don't care. Much love to you guys. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Easy lately, standing for